Okay, so what if we could bring back the woolly mammoth? I know, it sounds like something straight out of science fiction, right? But this idea of de-extinction, literally bringing vanished species back to life, is actually becoming a real possibility. And, well, that possibility brings up some of the biggest, most complicated questions we've ever had to face. So why are we even having this conversation? It really comes down to this number, 800. That's roughly how many species we as humans have pushed into extinction in just the last 500 years. Things like hunting, pollution, destroying habitats. It's a huge, staggering loss. And yeah, that's on us. But what if we could actually undo some of that damage? What if we could give these species a second chance? You see, modern science is getting so close to making that a reality. The question isn't just, can we anymore? It's, should we? And that's where the real debate really heats up. So, how in the world is this even possible? Let's dive into the science of it all. It really hinges on a technology you've definitely heard of, but maybe not quite in this context. And that technology is cloning. Here's the basic idea. Imagine finding some really well-preserved DNA, maybe from a woolly mammoth that's been frozen for thousands of years. Scientists could potentially use that genetic code to create an embryo and then implant it in its closest living relative, which would be an elephant. Now, it is incredibly complex, for sure, but the fundamental science is actually there. And who are we talking about bringing back? Well, the candidates are probably names you already know. We're talking about the dodo, the Tasmanian tiger, the quagga. These are just a few of the iconic species that have vanished from our planet, the ones whose ghosts kind of haunt our natural history museums. Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because this isn't just a theory. It's actually been done. Back in 2009, scientists successfully cloned a Pyrenean ibex. That's a type of wild goat that had gone extinct. But the success was, well, it was tragically short. The clone only survived for 7 minutes before it died from lung defects. This one event just perfectly captures both the incredible, breathtaking potential of this science and the immense, frankly heartbreaking challenges that come with it. So, with challenges that big, why would anyone even keep trying? That brings us right to the first side of this whole debate, the argument for de-extinction. And a lot of the time, it boils down to one really powerful idea: responsibility. The moral argument is pretty straightforward. We broke it, so maybe we have a responsibility to fix it. I mean, we hunted the dodo to oblivion. We are the ones cutting down forests, destroying homes for countless creatures. We've polluted the environment, and animals like the rhino are pushed to the absolute brink, all for their horns. So for a lot of people, de-extinction is a moral imperative. It's a way to maybe atone for our mistakes, both past and present. But beyond the moral argument, there's also a deeply practical one. Like this quote from our source material points out, some species are just essential for the health of our ecosystems, and let's be honest, for our own survival. Bees are the perfect example. If a crucial pollinator like them were to disappear, bringing them back wouldn't just be for the bees' sake. It would literally be for ours. But this brings up a really tough question. If we can do this, who do we choose to bring back? This slide kind of lays out the cold, hard calculus we might have to face. Do we prioritize species that are necessary for us, like bees, since their pollination is vital for our food supply? Or is there value in bringing back something like a penguin, just because it deserves to exist, even if we don't directly need it to survive? It gets complicated fast. And you know, that whole question of who to choose is the perfect pivot to the other side of this debate. The argument against de-extinction is absolutely full of concerns about unintended and maybe even catastrophic consequences. Okay, so the biggest thing here is a fear of the unknown. Some people argue that, hey, extinction is just part of nature's course and we shouldn't be playing God. But on a more concrete level, what if these revived species are carrying ancient viruses or diseases? Our immune systems and the immune systems of all the other animals today might have zero defense. We could literally be opening a prehistoric Pandora's box with no idea what's really inside. And of course, you can't talk about this without bringing up the Jurassic Park fear. This quote is a little funny, yeah, but it gets at a very real concern. What happens when you reintroduce an animal into an ecosystem that hasn't seen it for thousands or even millions of years? What if you bring back some massive predator with no modern equivalent? The ecological chaos could be absolutely catastrophic. And the ethical questions, they just get deeper and deeper. I mean, what if the species we bring back is, well, human? Some scientists think it might one day be possible to revive our extinct relatives, like Neanderthals. But then what? Seriously, what rights would they have? How would they fit into our world? As one student worried, what if we have a war with them? It opens up a complete moral minefield. This all leads to an even deeper, more philosophical question. Can you really bring a species back? Sure, you can clone a body, a physical thing with the right DNA, but can you clone its behavior, its instincts, its personality? That animal would be raised by a totally different species in a completely different world. Is it truly the same creature, or is it just a look-alike, living in a world it doesn't really belong to anymore? So after digging into both the incredible science and all the thorny ethics, we're left here, trying to weigh these two really powerful arguments against each other. It's kind of the classic battle of human ingenuity versus the wisdom of being cautious. So let's just boil it all down. On one hand, you have the arguments for it. We have a moral duty to fix our mistakes, we could restore crucial species like bees, and we could give lost biodiversity a second chance. But on the other hand, the arguments against it are just as powerful. The risk of unleashing ancient diseases, the totally unpredictable impact on ecosystems, and these deep, deep ethical concerns that we might just not be ready to answer. And this is really the thought I want to leave you with. This isn't some far-off, futuristic debate anymore. The technology is moving forward every single day. So the ultimate question is shifting. It's moving away from the scientific question of can we, and becoming a profound ethical question for all of us. Should we? And that's a question we're all going to have to help answer.